Kurt Gödel, one of the greatest logicians in history, once admitted he believed he was a failure, despite revolutionizing mathematics. Gödel's intellectual contributions were so extraordinary that Albert Einstein, himself a genius, said that he went to the office every day, just to have the privilege of walking home with Kurt Gödel. Gödel is best known for his incompleteness theorem, a discovery that profoundly altered the world of mathematics. His theorem demonstrated that in any formal mathematical system, there are true statements that cannot be proven within the system itself. In essence, his work revealed limits to what can be proven in mathematics. Despite this groundbreaking contribution, Gödel could not escape feelings of inadequacy, and in his later years, his mental health severely declined. He eventually passed away, having starved himself, weighing only 65 pounds. Early life and education. Gödel was born on April 28, 1906, in Brunn, which is now Brno in the Czech Republic, part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at the time. His father was a successful businessman, which provided the family with a privileged lifestyle. As a child, Gödel earned the nickname, Mr. Y, because of his constant questioning of the world around him. Ironically, although he later became one of the greatest mathematicians in history, he received only good grades in mathematics, while excelling in all other subjects. He enrolled at the University of Vienna intending to study physics, but after being inspired by his mathematics professor, Philipp Furtwängler, he shifted to pure mathematics. At the university, he became part of the Vienna Circle, a group of intellectuals who met regularly to discuss philosophy, science, and mathematics. Most members of the Vienna Circle were proponents of logical positivism, a belief that only empirically verified or logically proven statements are meaningful. However, Gödel's groundbreaking work on the incompleteness theorem would challenge this very philosophy. The incompleteness theorem in 1930, at the age of 24, Gödel presented his revolutionary incompleteness theorem, which shook the mathematical world. He demonstrated that within any formal mathematical system, there will always be true statements that cannot be proven by the rules of the system itself. His theorem is often illustrated by the liar paradox. The statement, "This statement is false," creates a contradiction because if the statement is true, then it must be false, but if it's false, it must be true. Gödel's theorem showed that mathematics, much like the paradox, contains truths that cannot be formally proven. This discovery had far-reaching implications beyond mathematics. It challenged the views of some of the most prominent mathematicians of the time, including David Hilbert, who famously said, "In mathematics, there is nothing unknowable." Gödel's theorem proved otherwise, revealing inherent limitations in formal systems. Mental health struggles. Despite the monumental significance of his work, Gödel faced difficulties securing a stable academic position. Austria's political turmoil and the Great Depression made it nearly impossible for him to find permanent employment. He held a temporary position as a private docent at the University of Vienna, where he lectured without a salary, earning only small fees from student enrollments. As Austria fell into political chaos with the rise of the Nazis, Gödel's mental health began to deteriorate. The death of his mentor, Hans Hahn, added to his emotional turmoil, and Gödel suffered from severe depression, paranoia, and delusions. He feared for his safety, even checking into sanatoriums where he refused to eat, convinced that doctors were trying to poison him. During these dark times, his girlfriend Adele, a former nightclub dancer, stood by his side, even tasting his food first to assure him it was safe to eat. Escaped to America after Austria's annexation by Nazi Germany, many of Gödel's colleagues fled the country. Although Gödel was not Jewish, he was viewed with suspicion due to his associations with Jewish colleagues and intellectuals. Initially reluctant to leave, Gödel eventually realized that his future in Austria was untenable, especially after his father's death and the collapse of financial support from his family. With help from mathematician John von Neumann, Gödel secured a position at the Institute for Advanced Study, IAS, in Princeton, USA, where he was offered the freedom to pursue research without the burden of teaching. Gödel and Adele arrived in America in 1940. Although the move provided safety and stability, Gödel's self-doubt persisted. He felt his later work, including his proof on the consistency of the continuum hypothesis, did not live up to the brilliance of his incompleteness theorem. Gödel became increasingly paranoid, fearing that others regarded him as a failure and would try to push him out of the IAS. Life in America and friendship with Einstein. One of Gödel's most famous friendships in America was with Albert Einstein, who greatly admired him. Einstein, whose office was near Gödel's at the IAS, once said that his own work had slowed down, but he still came to the office just for the privilege of walking home with Gödel. The two men shared daily walks, discussing a wide range of topics, from science to philosophy. In 1947, Gödel prepared to become an American citizen. In typical fashion, he studied the U.S. Constitution thoroughly and even claimed to have found a logical loophole that could allow a dictatorship to arise in America. During his citizenship interview, Einstein and another colleague had to quickly intervene to steer Gödel away from discussing this controversial topic. He passed the interview and became a U.S. citizen in 1948. Final years and decline. Despite his achievements, Gödel's mental health continued to decline. He became increasingly obsessed with his health, checking his temperature multiple times a day and frequently accusing doctors of incompetence. He also believed various conspiracies, such as the IRS and the IAS plotting against him. When his wife Adele was hospitalized for several months, Gödel became so paranoid that he stopped eating. His fear of being poisoned intensified, and without Adele's reassurance, he slowly starved himself. Although Adele eventually convinced him to go to the hospital, he refused food during his final days, and on January 14, 1978, Kurt Gödel passed away at the age of 71. Gödel's life and work left a profound impact on mathematics, revealing the inherent limitations within formal systems. His incompleteness theorem remains one of the most significant discoveries in logic, showing that no system of knowledge can be complete or fully self-contained. Despite his internal struggles, Gödel's legacy as one of the greatest thinkers in modern mathematics endures.